we've found some really cool people that we know will kind of run with that as well. And they want to give back in the same way. So they are doing their part. We can do our part. And, together we're going to really save them some moolah. So, that's really, I think that's really what we can do to help it. And it's not some sort of massive campaign. It's the little things that just add up on top of each other, that I think is a really great way to honor and give back.
Welcome to the JWells CFO Show. I'm your host, JWells, and I am thrilled today to bring on this week's guest, Matt Hartman, with Heroes First Home Loans. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Matt. Explain to the people what you do, how you help people, and give us a little bit about your story.
Well, I love my heroes of the community. That's who we love to serve. I can do anybody's home loan, but I love to serve the law enforcement, firefighters, the military in the area, whether it's retired or not retired. We can do active as well, and teachers, ministry, anyone in civil service or even in the healthcare industry with nurses. And doctors and, even, the janitors and everyone that works within that industry to make it work. That's who we really like to serve, and we give extra special benefits to do that. So.
Good deal. Awesome. So what is it about these particular groups that makes it to where, you've committed yourself to this business that's gonna help them out even more in terms of their home loans? What is it about these groups?
Well, these groups, of course, they serve us on a daily basis, and I think it's just our duty and our honor to give back to them and serve them as much as they're serving us. So, my grandfather was in World War II. I actually still wear his dog tags right here every day, and so. Whether it's that or it's my mom being a nurse, and now she actually teaches nursing as well. And, my sister is a principal of a school in Roanoke, Virginia. And it's kind of in my blood. I haven't served in any of these capacities necessarily, but it's just something that I have a heart for, and we want to serve in that way. So.
Good deal. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Coming from, I've got teachers in my family. I've got, I've known these kind of civil servants that you've talked about. I was in higher education before I, came into accounting. So yeah, it's definitely a group of people. And, I think, that especially when you talk about these first responder types, the firefighters, police officers, those types, they're doing really potentially dangerous, hazardous work, and they're not the highest on the salaries list, when those positions generally. So yeah, I think it's awesome. So what specifically are or is your company doing that's helping these people, as opposed to, just going to any other mortgage broker?
Well, we have three really awesome benefits that we like to provide to these industries. One is that we do not have lender fees. We do not charge lender fees in any way. So your origination, your processing, your underwriting fees, those are all things that we should be doing to the best of our ability. And we don't want to make you pay for it, So that's one of the main things that we do. We also have a $500 Visa gift card after closing that we give. Again, that's kind of just to say thank you to who you are, what you do for us in the community, and that'll help either offset appraisal, or if you're thinking, you know what, I need a new dishwasher, let's grab one of those. So that's just something that we like to do as well. The final thing that we're actually very proud of is a payment assurance plan. What that looks like, the first 2 years of your mortgage, if you were to unfortunately involuntarily lose your job and you're actually eligible for unemployment benefits, then you'd be eligible for this too. And what it is, within the first 2 years, up to 6 months, per month we will pay $1,500, up to $1,500 towards your mortgage per month. And it is a gift. We don't tag it back onto the loan. We don't hide it somewhere. It is a gift to say, you know what? I know this is a very big, decision in your life. And we don't want the hang up of, well, I know I just got in this department and there's a possibility of a transfer another time, or, maybe it doesn't work out and they're just unsure. This kind of gives them a peace of mind. So that's what we want to give out there to them. So those are the three big benefits that we have in front of us. And then of course we just do everything we can to serve them and have the best customer service we possibly can and get them into a great program.
That's incredible, man. Especially that third one. Yeah, that's really something else, because especially, we're in this St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Florida area. And obviously, we're a little over a decade out from the start of the Great Recession. And, of course, everybody around here, but, really across the country, everybody knows somebody that got hit hard with that. And of course, I've heard all the horror stories of that first month being late and then all of a sudden you're out of your home, and so, to take that kind of an offer and extend it out there to, these people that are in these jobs, that we need to keep them in these jobs, whether we've got an economic crisis or not. I think that's a fantastic offering. Is that, I mean, is that, are you finding that, the civil servants and these local heroes and this kind of stuff that they're coming to you, and I mean, they're just saying like, this is something that we've never heard of. We didn't know this was out there. Is this a unique kind of thing going on here?
It actually is. My director is Sam Royer, and he is a Marine through and through. And he said, I want to do something that no one else is doing, and I want to knock it out of the park. So what he did, along with the help of the CEO of Cherry Creek Mortgage Company, which is actually our parent company out of Colorado, decided, you know what, we could do something like this. It's very unheard of. It's something that I know that took a while to figure out how it would actually look in the nitty gritty of it. But it's actually something that is very unique. I don't really know of anybody else out there that's doing that. That's why it's something that, like I said, it's extra proud, in our hearts that we're able to make this happen for them. And, there's other people out there that are doing, a gift card at closing and other things like that. But that's just one thing that we say, we got to set ourselves apart, because we want to put, and it's always on our chest, heroes first. We always want them to be first in our brains. And even if they don't use us, I always say, ask the person that you might be using if they could do something like this for you, or at least, consider it. That's a benefit that I know that I can give you, and I want you to have it, even if you don't use us, because you guys are first. You heroes are first. So it's definitely unique. It's different for sure. So.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome plan. It's an awesome plan. So tell me, like, what does a good day look like? Because what for you in this business, because what makes it to where somebody is going to, other than these things, what, obviously, you feel good when somebody comes in and they sign up for a mortgage with your company, especially these heroes, because they're getting this little bit of extra privilege, or extra service, that you're offering them. But what are the other sort of, values that you're bringing to these clients that they might not get somewhere else?
Well, I know that a good day for me, I enjoy writing alone. It's something that, it's part of my job. It's something I have to do. It's definitely not the most glamorous thing to do, is sit behind my computer and type away. But a really good day for me is to be able to get out there and into that community that we're trying to serve. So even just yesterday, I was hanging out with cops. It was National Coffee with a Cop Day. And so, got up nice and early, went to Ketter Linus Elementary here in St. Augustine, and we were able to provide some coffee and donuts to the officers that help within that school. And then there were officers that knew, kind of heard through the grapevine that was the place to be to get some coffee and some donuts. So there were cops just kind of popping in, showing up. And that was really cool to be able to serve not only the cops on National Coffee with a Cop Day, but to also serve the teachers that were coming in, and also the kids and the parents and everyone that was there that was coming through. We said, get yourself a coffee, and we like to give back in that way. I'll take food to downtown, the city fire department downtown, and Chief Aviles is always very grateful for it, and all the guys in A, B, and C shift, they love it, and who can say no to some free food, so that's to me is a really good day. If that brings me a lead and I can help them get into a house, that's just the cherry on top. I really like to get out there and show these men and women that serve us every day that somebody is willing to serve them too.
That's awesome right there. Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about your grandfather and that giving you this motivation to serve these local and national heroes, but what actually got you into this field? What got you into mortgages? How did you get into this line of business?
Well, I had been doing sales in general for about 7 to 8 years. I think it was probably about 7.5 years. And I just started to think, I want to do something that kind of gives back and it's maybe even a little bit more meaningful than just selling tires or selling propane, which is some of the stuff I used to do. And, that stuff needs to happen too. That's a very, it's a very important job to have, is to make sure these people have their propane gas and have the tires that they need for their semi trailers, but I knew that I could give back in this way. And when I met Sam Royer, we actually go to the same church, and he said, have you ever thought of going into this? These are the men and women that we serve, and you just seem like you have the heart for it. And I was like, I've never thought about the mortgage industry, but I'm thinking about it now, because he definitely kind of sold me on it, because of, again, who he serves, and who I would then be serving as well. So that's kind of where it kind of snowballed from, and it's just been really cool ever since.
Good deal. That's awesome. So what, we've heard the great side of what's happening. What are the challenges that you're running into, sort of on a daily basis in doing these kinds of services, and what are you doing to overcome those challenges?
That is actually a very good question.
Because I'm assuming it's not easy Because like I said, back to the kind of clientele you're serving, they're not, a lot of these professions, unfortunately, are not some of the best paid professions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not necessarily just in terms of individual clients, but, in terms of making this business model work right for the clients, how are you overcoming these challenges that might, that other mortgage brokers might look at and say, this isn't a good client for me, and because of these financial factors, maybe because of these history factors, whatever, how are you overcoming these challenges so that you can keep serving these clients?
Well, I know that actually just recently, the director that I've been talking about, Sam, he actually gave me a really cool story of a guy that he was a veteran and had served, I believe it was overseas, and came back. And when he came back, he had some issues. He had some PTSD issues, and just it was difficult for him to kind of get his feet back underneath him at that time. And so kind of did some damage on his credit, and he was trying to build that back up, and some credit issues, and then also his debt to income ratio was a little bit off as well. And Sam, and this is the kind of thing that I know that I would be able to do as well. This story's fresh in my mind. So Sam was able to actually take the debt to income ratio that was there, that was kind of in the higher 60 percentage, so around 67, 68% of a DTI. And he wrote a letter, an explanation letter of what happened, this man's story. And of course we were trying to get him into a VA home loan. And due to the story behind it, and we really kind of drove that home with our CEO and some of the higher ups that are in our corporate headquarters up there, and we got him a loan. We were able to do it. It was not necessarily easy, but we said, this is where he is. His path that he's trying to take right now is very promising. It was very helpful that, that there was a situation where the wife's credit was not great. So didn't want to put her on the loan, but she was making a good amount of money, so couldn't use her to help with that debt to income ratio, unfortunately. But we decided, we shouldn't be concerned about that because they have the money to make it happen. It just doesn't look perfect on paper. And we wanted to make sure that the lender out there and the investor out there knows that this is the story that you're looking into, and we had to make it work this way to get them into a house. Let's do it. Let's knock it out of the park and get them into a house. So we were able to do stuff like that. And it's huge. I feel proud to be in that kind of a position where, we have people that are going to bat for these people to make sure that they can, get the dream of owning their own home.
It's a really cool story, and it backs up that argument that's pretty popular in business right now is finding this niche or this niche, and really going after that niche because not just that it makes you better because now you have a narrower scope to specialize in, but through that specialization you start to learn what your clients are going to need ahead of time, right? So you can anticipate these kinds of things. So
right.
you get a client that comes in and you are aware of the kinds of issues. And like you said, if it takes writing a letter, if it takes a phone call, the language, the terminology that you're going to need to use to try to push this client ahead a little bit. And so, when you focus on this niche, instead of just saying, anybody and everybody that needs a mortgage, unless your numbers don't line up just right, and then we can't help you. You can say, if your numbers don't line up just right, it's okay, because we know what's making them not line up right, and we can explain that to the people that it's going to take to make this work.
Right. And that's, it's not going to work for everyone. I can't sit here and say, oh, I have some sort of, magic beans that I can, cultivate something out of nothing. But, if there's something there that we really can kind of grab onto and say, this is what it looks like in front of us. And yes, there was a little bit in the past, but we can do something to help out. We're going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it for a lot of people, the home and the mortgage that goes with it are going to be a couple of the biggest financial decisions, that people are going to make in their life. A home, other than maybe a retirement asset later in life, a home is usually, an individual's or a married couple's largest asset. The mortgage is usually their largest debt. But it's also the ticket to a lot of things, right? You need to get out of that renter situation, right? A lot of times you need to establish that base for yourself so you can avoid, more expensive rent and this kind of stuff. And then, you need a consistent address that you can put on applications for other things, and all these kinds of things just kind of flow from home ownership. And, again, back to this group that you're serving, to take this group that unfortunately we're not compensating as well as we probably should, but then also we rely on. A month ago, had a scare with a hurricane coming through the area, and of course, you see the first responders. We have a neighbor in our complex here that is he's EMS with the fire department. And, when we had that hurricane coming through for a couple days before, and then the day of, I didn't see him. And then the day that it cleared up after the hurricane passed by, I saw him coming in the morning, and he had been on shift. I mean, not just at the office, but on shift, or not just at the firehouse, but on shift for the last 72 hours. And he was coming home at about 8 or 9 in the morning, and he told me that he was supposed to report back for his normal shift at 2 p.m. So he basically had like a 5-hour window to come home, take a nap, take a good shower, get a good meal, and then he had to report right back, because just because he had put in that time didn't mean that he could now take a long weekend off and recover. Now he had to be right back at his post. And that kind of dedication is just something else. And we don't see it until we need it, right? You don't interact on a daily basis with firefighters because your house isn't burning down every day. You don't interact, with nurses and on a daily basis, because hopefully you're not in and out of the hospital every single day. But they're there, they're behind the scenes. And so, I think this is a big part of why I wanted to have you on here, because I think, especially when we hear these headlines about where mortgage interest rates are going, and where you've got the hot places in the country for investing in real estate, and you've got the tax strategies, and you've got podcasts coming out explaining, and then you've got the nightly infomercials about investing in real estate and how you need to do all this. And, it's really easy to forget that, there's a lot of people that they just need a home, and they just need a solid foundation to build their lives on.
Right. And, I know that with all of our first responders, they are seeing you or whoever they're trying to serve normally on your worst day. You're not seeing a firefighter come to your house just because they decided to pull up and say, hey, something went wrong and you're having a terrible day. And they come in, they try to calm you down. They try to make sure that, you're not going to make matters worse by, moving your arm because you might have broke it, or something could have, something's happening. You're having a terrible day. They have to see that constantly. I mean, every call that they have, it's most likely somebody on their worst day. And so when they come home, they want to come home to something. They want to come home and be like, oh man, I can just relax for once. And so, you know, yes, they try to get some relaxation maybe at the firehouse. It'd be great if they could. A lot of times they don't. So they want to come home. Like you said, they want to sit. They want to just chill, take a nap, have a good shower. And to be able to do that in a home that they own, they know that they're building something. They're building some equity that later on they can actually use as a good profit for them later on, as opposed to just renting and throwing away that money to a landlord. You know, it's something that I truly believe that they well deserve. And you know, let's get them in a house. Let's do it.
I think this is a great example of something that is a trend now. It's starting to be talked about a little bit more, is this idea of this socially responsible, capitalism, right? That capitalism doesn't have to be cutthroat. It doesn't have to be screwing everybody over to make another buck, you know, that you can create a successful business. You can serve customers and clients really well in a way that makes society better. And so is that what was, you know, you've got this background. Is this something that you foresee pushing forward? That is this sort of another, maybe perhaps avenue of thinking about how to keep this message going? You know, can we expand this beyond just, you know, mortgages, right? Like where's the next sort of area that we can be helping these heroes? Right. You know, what's the next phase? So we've got them in a house. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, that's, you know, I know that there's so many industries out there that could do something in order to help out. I know that there's a lot of military discounts out there. There's a lot of, like Bojangles, for example, the new one that's you know, just up the road here. They give back to their police officers. You come in, whether you're on duty or not, and they know you as a police officer, you're getting 50% off of your meal. And so little things like that I know that could just help, just little things here and there, that it's just a way to say thank you. It's just a way to honor and give back to them, so that, you know, they're able to live as comfortably as possible in the house that they want. I know that we work with realtors and real estate agencies all the time, that we want them to see what we're trying to put out there, and maybe have that in their heads and in their hearts as well. And, you know, we've found some really cool people that we know will kind of run with that as well. And they want to give back in the same way. So they are doing their part. We can do our part. And, you know, together we're going to really save them some moolah. So that's really, I think that's really what we can do to help it. And it's not some sort of massive campaign. It's the little things that just add up on top of each other, that I think is a really great way to honor and give back. And again, just saying thank you. That's something, especially with law enforcement, they don't get thank yous nearly enough for what they have to put up with and what they do. So, you know, I see a law enforcement officer just doing their duty somewhere. You know, I was at the beach the other day and just walked up to St. Augustine Beach PD with their really cool Jeep that they like to drive around. And I just said, thank you, man. Thanks for keeping us safe. You know, the red flag was out, meaning that undertow was gnarly out there, you know? And so, he was just kind of patrolling, making sure he didn't see any hands flailing out there. Little things like that you just say, thank you, man. Thank you for being here for us. Just kind of keeping an eye out, making sure that, everybody's being, smart and safe. And, I try to do that anytime I can, anytime. So.
And that's definitely something we can all do. It's
right.
Not necessarily starting a whole new business that's going to serve this group. It's just something that, every day walking down the street, like you said, going in and out of work, going in and out of the house, you see somebody in a uniform, just take a second to say thank you. Yeah,
yep.
No, that's fantastic. So you said you had this fellow churchgoer that introduced you to this idea of going into mortgages. What advice, somebody listens to this podcast, they say, I love this. I want to do something like this. I want to get into the mortgage business. I want to get into, helping these local heroes, these first responders through something like this. What advice, what recommendations do you have for somebody that, in a situation like yours, they have no experience in this field. They don't know what it's like. How do they get started?
They would get started through, there's actually a lot of online classes that you can take to get yourself prepared for the licensure that you have to get. I was fortunate to get some really good classes under my belt. My biggest advice, I believe, would be to take those classes seriously. There are things that, even now I still go, I remember listening to that long ago, and I didn't even think that it was sinking into my head, but it did. And I'm now just remembering that, oh man, I actually learned that long ago, back when I took that class. So if you really pay attention through your classes, and take them seriously, and know that you're probably going to use that stuff at some point. Some of it might be review, or other, you might actually know it already, but just really keep it in there because you're probably going to use it. So that's normally how it goes. You have to get a national licensure, and then you also have to do state-specific testing as well. So I had to make sure that I did, all of my Florida testing as well. So depending on what state you're looking to be licensed in, you'll have to do that. Like, I'm looking into being licensed in Pennsylvania, where I'm from, and then, maybe some of the other southern states, maybe the Carolinas or something like that, since there's a lot of people that move from, more north on the East Coast down into Florida, or vice versa. They might be moving over into that area, and I'd love to help them that way too. So, that's really how you get into it. It's a matter of, you might have to put some money out there, to get those classes, but then, you should be able to get that back pretty quickly once you start bringing in the loans. So.
Awesome. And is Heroes First, is this nationwide? Is it, can we find an office for this almost anywhere?
We do have our parent company, like I mentioned before, Cherry Creek out of Colorado. And so we were able to refer out to many different states. I believe right now it's around 25 or so different states. So, I'm not going to go into the entire list of it.
Right, sure.
But, if somebody wants to reach out to me or the team and say, hey, are you guys licensed in Pennsylvania? Then we can say, yes, Sam is actually from there. I'm from there. And he's licensed there right now, and I'm looking to be licensed too. So, there are multiple ones, and it might not be me specifically helping, but I can say, hey, we've got a great person in Texas, that works for Cherry Creek, and they're part of our company. We're a DBA under them. So they will take care of you. They will make sure that you are honored and served the best of their ability as well. And so we have ways to, refer out to our fellow employees under that company. So
good deal. Good deal. Awesome. Awesome. And you hit on it. Last question here that I'll throw out here before I let you get on with your day, helping these heroes get into their new homes. But if listeners want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Best way probably is a good old fashioned phone call. 904-439-3436 is my cell phone number. You can reach out to me anytime. My email, if that's easier for you, it's real easy. It's Matt, MATT, at heroesfirst.com. Heroes is spelled with an extra E. Remember that E. Some people don't. So it's HEROES, and first is spelled out. So yeah, just Matt at heroesfirst.com, cell phone number. That's honestly the best two ways to get in touch with me.
Good deal. And we'll make sure we have that down in the description or the show notes so that people can see that in text if they need to. Any last comments, any last things you want to put out there? Last bits of advice?
Man, I'm just honestly, I'm thankful that you were willing to have me on this show. And, like I said before, the last bit of advice probably would be really just say thank you. Just say thank you to these men and women out here that serve us on a daily basis. You don't even know you need them till you need them. And they're always there. I mean, they get there quickly. The teachers, the people in ministry that serve us on a spiritual level, the men and women that work as civil servants, doing your trash. That's, if we didn't have them, we'd be looking at some really trashy areas. So it's little things. Just say, hey, thanks for doing what you do. I mean, I see nurses that walk into, whether it's Chick-fil-A or somewhere, in their scrubs, and I just say, thank you. And I shake their hand. I say, thank you for doing what you do. You're saving lives every day, or at least making somebody's day better because you're bringing them some sort of healing at some point. So, it's the people that just deserve a good thanks. And that's really probably my last bit of advice is it's so simple, but it goes such a long way too. They don't see that as often as you would really, want them to see it. So.
Awesome. Well, it's definitely something I'm going to add to my routine then when I'm out and about and I see these, cause you're right. It's, if you're looking for them, they're there, right?
Right.
You're not going to notice them, but they're there. And if you just keep your eye out, you'll see them. And just take that 5-10 seconds, go up, say thank you, and go on about your business. Absolutely. Well, Matt, it's been fantastic having you on here. Thank you so much for coming. I am Jeremy Wells. This is the JWells CFO Show. Thank you to the listeners for listening, those on YouTube for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you got to do to make sure you keep getting this show, and feel free to let us know how we're doing. If you've got any guests that you'd love to see or any businesses that you want to hear from, we're always open to taking recommendations for more interviews. Follow the channel and follow me across all the social media at JWells CFO. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you can find me, I'll be there, and feel free to connect. And you can reach the show at hello@jwellscfo.com. That's the email address. Good deal. Again, Matt, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You're very welcome. Thank you.